frozen moon, a mother's sacrifice. The sky was dark. Thick gray clouds covered the stars. A cold wind blew across the frozen land. The ground was hard like stone, and the air was heavy with snow on this dying planet. A mother walked slowly through the snowstorm. Her name was Rena, and in her arms she held her little daughter, Luma. Luma was only 5 years old. Her small body was shaking from the cold. Her purple skin had lost its glow. Her eyes were half closed. Rena was tired. Her legs were weak. But she kept walking. She had to keep her daughter alive. There was no shelter nearby. The old village had been destroyed weeks ago in a storm. The food was finished. The heaters were broken. No other people were left, just Rena and Luma. The wind screamed louder. Ice hit their faces like small stones. Rena found a small cave between two rocks. It was not warm, but it blocked the wind. She went inside and sat down, holding Luma close. The child whispered, "Mama, cold." Rena's heart broke. She looked at her daughter's thin body. The small coat she wore was wet and useless. Rena looked down at herself. She still had her warm coat, gloves, and boots. She knew what she had to do. Slowly, with shaking hands, she began to take off her own coat. She wrapped it around Luma. Then, she took off her gloves and put them on her daughter's hands. Her boots came off next. Her feet touched the ice. It burned with cold. But she didn't stop. She held Luma close and whispered stories in her ear. "Long ago," she said, "our people lived in warm forests. We sang songs every night, and you will see those forests again." Her voice was soft. Her lips were turning blue. She knew the truth. The forests were gone. The world was dying. But she had to give her daughter hope. Time passed. Minutes? Hours? She couldn't tell. The cold was inside her bones now. Her eyes were heavy. Then a sound, a strange buzzing filled the air. The snow outside glowed bright for a second, then a loud thud shook the ground. The cave walls trembled. Luma opened her eyes. "Mama, light!" Rena forced herself to look up. She saw a shape outside. Big, metallic, and glowing. It was a ship. A flying machine, not from this planet. She tried to speak, but her voice was gone. Her vision blurred. She saw a tall figure coming from the ship. It was walking toward the cave. It looked different, not like her people. Its body was covered in strange armor. Its face had a clear glass mask behind the glass. A human face. Yes, a human. Rena had heard stories. Long ago, humans had left their own planet and traveled the stars. Some said they were cruel. Others said they were kind. But she had never seen one before. The human came close. He looked inside the cave and gasped. He rushed forward, kneeling. Beside Rena and Luma, he spoke in a strange voice, fast and worried. She didn't understand the words, but she saw his eyes. They were full of fear and kindness. He pulled something from his suit, a heat blanket. He wrapped it around both of them. Then he opened a small box and took out a food pack. He gave it to Luma, who was too weak to eat. The human understood. He picked Luma up gently. Then he looked at Rena. She shook her head weakly. She could not walk. She could not move. But she pushed Luma toward him. The human nodded. "Good." He spoke again. This time, slower. "You stay strong. I'll come back. I promise." Then he ran toward the ship with the child in his arms. Rena lay in the cave, her body frozen, but her heart a little warmer. Hope had arrived, not in the form of magic or gods or her own people, but in the hands of a human man. The human man. The door of the ship slid open with a quiet hiss. Warm yellow light spilled onto the ice-covered ground. The human man stepped out, boots crunching in the snow, his breath fogging inside his helmet. The wind screamed around him, but he didn't flinch. His name was Commander Eli Voss, and this was not his mission. He had come to this dead moon for a scan, to collect data from a forgotten war. He expected silence, ruins, and dust, but then his scanner picked up something impossible. 2 life signs. Weak, almost gone. Not human. Not machine, alive. And now, here he was, walking into a cave on a dying planet, holding an alien child in his arms. The girl was ice cold. Her skin glowed faintly in the dark. Her eyes were open just a little, her breath shallow. "Stay with me," Kid, he whispered, you made it this far. He reached the medical pod inside his ship and gently placed her in. The pod hummed to life, scanning her. The AIS voice spoke calmly. Species unknown, vital signs critical. Immediate. Warming and nutrition recommended. Eli stared at the readings. The girl had 2 hearts. Her lungs were built for thin air. Her skin had microfibers that shimmered like light. She was nothing like any species he had studied. And still, she was just a child. He ran back outside into the snow. The storm hit harder now, ice stabbing his visor. His boots slipped once. But he didn't stop. The cave was half buried already. He pushed inside again. There she was, the mother. She hadn't moved. Hey! He shouted, kneeling beside her. I came back. You hear me? He touched her face, frozen. Her body was stiff, but then her eyes blinked. Just once, relief hit him like a wave. I got your kid inside, he said softly. She's safe. But you need to move now. She couldn't speak. But her hand twitched. Eli opened another heat pack and placed it under her arms. He gently lifted her. She was light, too light, starved and cold. Hang on, he whispered. Don't die now. She needs you. He ran back through the wind, carrying her like glass. The snowstorm tried to stop him. The planet roared under his feet. But he didn't stop. Inside the ship, he laid her down beside her daughter. The medical pod could only hold one, so he wrapped the mother in heated blankets, connected a fluid line, and hoped it was enough. He sat back, finally breathing. 2 aliens. A mother and daughter, found in a frozen cave on a dead world. One barely alive, the other closer to death, and now, his problem. The AI spoke again. Commander, storm pressure increasing. Roof integrity may fail in 3 hours. He looked at the readings. They were trapped. The storm was going to crush the ship if they didn't move. But the engines needed at least 6 hours to de-ice. He stared at the 2 sleeping forms. Of course, he muttered. Nothing's ever simple. He walked to the command chair, sat down, and opened a file. A report he had written years ago. Subject: Human Contact Protocol with Unknown Civilizations. He had helped write it. He had believed in it. Never interfere. Never change their path. Watch, record, and leave. Now. Now he had broken it completely. He saved the girl's life. He brought her into his ship. He held the mother in his arms. And deep down he knew he would do it again. The screen flickered. An alert, strange signal detected. Unknown origin, direction, southwest, strength, rising. Eli frowned. Another signal? He leaned forward. What else is alive on this moon? Behind him the child stirred. Her fingers moved. Her lips whispered a word in her own language. He turned and looked at her. Eyes full of fear, full of light, and quietly she spoke one word in broken English. Man, help. Eli nodded slowly. Yes, kid, I'm trying. But deep inside, he felt it. This was bigger than one rescue. Something was watching. Something was coming. The storm that broke the sky. The snow didn't fall anymore. It attacked like needles of glass. The wind carried shards of ice that screamed against the hull of the ship. The frozen moon was no longer just cold. It was angry. The planet itself seemed to groan beneath the weight of something unnatural. Commander. Eli Voss stood at the ship's viewing panel, watching the storm twist across the horizon like a living beast. This wasn't weather. This was something else. He checked the radar. Storm density rising. Core pressure abnormal. Geological shift detected, the AI said. Yeah, Eli muttered. That's not good. Behind him, the mother, Rena, lay in a medical pod, her breath steadier now. Beside her, the child, Luma, slept quietly, a soft blue light pulsing under her skin. She had survived the cold. For now, but outside, the world was dying faster than it should. Eli opened his mission log. Entry number 47. The moon is unstable. Planetary readings show tectonic movement. Something is changing deep underground. A storm this size shouldn't exist here. He didn't write the next part, but he thought this isn't natural. Something woke up. Suddenly the ship shook. A tremor rolled beneath the floor. Not from the wind, from below. Eli ran to the console. A red warning flashed. Quake detected? Underground activity, origin unknown, then another signal. Energy pulse detected -14 kilometers southwest. He froze, that same direction, the one from the strange signal he saw earlier, where the scanner picked up a weak, repeated tone, not a natural sound, not a star. Not an echo, a machine, someone, or something, was still out there. Eli stared at the display, thinking fast. The storm was closing in. If they stayed here, the ship would collapse within hours. Engines were still frozen. The planet was falling apart, and yet, the signal felt important. It pulsed with purpose, not random noise. It was calling. He looked at the sleeping girl, then at her mother. Why were you even out there? He whispered. What were you running from? A sudden memory flashed in his mind, the look in Rena's eyes when she saw him. Fear, but also confusion. As if she didn't expect him, but someone else. Maybe something else. The eyes spoke again. Commander, atmosphere pressure reaching. Danger level. Recommend shelter relocation. Eli grabbed his thermal coat, clipped on his helmet, and powered up the drone scanner. He wasn't going to wait for the storm to bury them alive. Stay here, he said quietly to Rena. Don't die while I'm gone. He opened the hatch and stepped into chaos. Outside, the wind roared like a monster. Dust and snow turned the world white. He pushed through the cold, his suit groaning with every step. The signal grew louder in his headset. Beep, beep. Faster now? His scanner picked up strange shapes beneath the ice. Not rocks. Not metal, architecture, buried ruins. He reached a ridge and saw it, a circular door in the ground, half covered in snow. Alien symbols pulsed faintly on its surface, not glowing but reacting. Like it felt him nearby. He moved closer. Touched the panel, the door opened, no code, no key. It opened for him. Inside was silence. And darkness. And a single phrase carved in a language he couldn't read. Except for one word. The AI managed to auto-translate. Warning. He stepped inside, back at the ship. Inside the ship, Rena stirred, her eyes opened wide. Her skin began to glow, softly at first, then brighter. She looked around. Panicked, she felt something old, something familiar, and dangerous. She sat up suddenly, ignoring the pain. Luma, she whispered. He's going near it. She tried to stand, fell, crawled toward the ship's console. She pressed her hand to the glass and spoke in her native tongue. He must not enter that place. Wakes the death. Inside the room, Eli walked down a cold metal corridor. Dust danced in the beam of his helmet light. The walls were etched with ancient drawings, creatures he didn't recognize. Ships in the sky, fire raining down, and then a statue, a figure, tall, armored. Human-shaped. But not human. The same species as Rena. It held a small child in one arm, and a burning sphere in the other. Underneath it, more words. We warned them. Eli stepped back, and then the ground began to shake again. From below, deep and thunderous, came a low sound. Not mechanical. Alive. Something was waking up. The truth about the planet, the ruin, was breathing. Not with air, but with memory. As Eli stood inside the underground chamber, lights slowly lit up along the walls. Not from electricity, but from something older, organic, living. It was as if the ruin had been asleep for centuries. And now it remembered, and it remembered him, a message from the past. In the center of the room, a sphere rose from the floor, floating, silent. Then it spoke, not in sound, but in vision. Eli's eyes widened as the walls around him became screens. Scenes played like dreams made of light and dust. He saw the frozen planet, before the cold, lush forests, blue skies, rivers, cities with tall silver towers, alien children playing, their skin glowing with light. It was Rena's people. Happy, alive, strong. Then something changed. A black ship arrived, huge, silent, covered in shadows, and behind it, fire. Buildings fell, skies burned. Machines rained from the stars, machines that did not belong to Rena's kind, machines that looked human. Eli took a step back. No, that can't be right. The vision changed again. A council of aliens gathered. They argued. One of them, Rena's ancestor, perhaps, stood up and shouted. She held a glowing stone in her hand, a weapon. They made a choice. If they could not win, they would freeze the planet. Shut it down. Hide everything under ice. It was their last chance. Their final defense, and it worked. The invaders left. The machine stopped. The planet became a tomb of snow and silence. Until now. At the ship, Rena was awake now, fully alert. Her strength had returned faster than expected. She stared at the ship's radar, watching the blinking dot that marked Eli's location, the ruin. Her voice shook as she spoke to the AI. Through the translator, "He must come back. He must not go deeper. That place remembers war." The AI replied calmly, "Commander Eli is exploring Signal Zone 4. Return impossible at this time." Rena stood up. Despite the pain in her legs, she walked to the door. Outside, the storm still howled, but she didn't care. She had to warn him. Below, the Asili moved deeper into the ruin. He reached a door made of black metal. It opened without touch. Inside, a second chamber, smaller, colder. In the center, a pod. Inside the pod, a body, frozen, female, same species as Rena, older, her skin marked with gold tattoos, her arms crossed, her expression peaceful and powerful. On the wall, an inscription in ancient symbols. The AI translated slowly. "Last guardian of the flame, keeper of the memory, do not wake her unless the humans return." Eli's chest tightened. So it was true. Humans had been here, not just as explorers, but as enemies. And now he had returned. Without knowing, without meaning to, he stepped back, but the pod lit up, slowly, softly, as if responding to his presence. "Shut it down," he said quickly. "I'm not here to..." But it was too late. The pod opened. A long, silent breath filled the air. Above, Rena ran through the snow, her skin glowing brighter now. The storm parted slightly around her as if the planet itself recognized her steps. She whispered, "Don't wake her. Please. Not yet." She saw the ridge. The entrance. The ship still parked far behind. She dove into the ruin's entrance. Reunion underground. Eli turned as he heard fast footsteps behind him. It was Rena, frost on her hair. Her breath sharp, her eyes wide with fear. She looked past him at the now open pod, then her voice broke. "You don't understand? She is not dead, she is not memory, she is the warning." The body inside the pod began to move. The frozen woman's eyes opened, bright gold, awake, watching Eli. And in that moment, Eli realized something far worse than war had happened here. It wasn't just destruction. It was betrayal, signals in the ice, silence. The kind that feels alive. The woman in the pod did not speak. She only stared. Her golden eyes shimmered like stars, but cold, empty, ancient. Commander Eli Voss took a slow step back. His heart beat hard inside his chest. He didn't know what she was. He only knew one thing. She was not surprised to see him. The voice beneath. Suddenly, a voice echoed in the room, not hers. It came from the walls. It was deep, broken, metallic, old but sharp. "A human breathes in our sky again. This world remembers." Rena stepped in front of Eli, her arms wide. She faced the golden-eyed woman and spoke quickly in her own language, words full of fear, warning, and pain. The woman did not move, but the room reacted. Symbols on the walls lit up. A massive map appeared, a map of the planet. Lines traced across the ice. Deep tunnels, old machines, buried beacons, and one glowing red. Moving. At the ship. Back on the ship, the AI sounded an alarm. "Signal detected, active broadcast from beneath the ice. Unauthorized, code origin, pre-human era." The child, Luma, sat up. Her eyes glowed. Her fingers trembled. She heard something, not in her ears, but in her mind. A cold voice whispered inside her, "Return, return, return." She covered her ears and cried out. The AI couldn't help her. The planet was speaking again, and it wanted her back. The discovery. Eli pointed at the glowing red on the map. "What is that?" he asked. Rena looked at it with fear. "A machine," she said. "A signal maker, left by the First War. It sleeps, or it did." The golden-eyed woman finally moved. She raised one hand, slow and smooth, and the map zoomed in. Eli saw something that made his blood run cold. A human ship. Broken, half buried in ice. Not his ship. Another. They came before, the voice said. They told lies. They left. Death. Eli stepped closer. That's not possible. There's no record. Rena stopped him. They erased it, she whispered. Their kind came long ago. They tried to take our fire, our light. But it hurt them, so they destroyed it. She looked at him, eyes soft, but not all of them wanted war. Outside, the signal grows beneath the ice. Something ancient began to blink. The machine tower, tall as a building, frozen under mountains of snow. Powered on, its heart beat with heat. Its sensors opened, its long-forgotten programming activated. Biological match detected. Target, human, action, eliminate. The machine began to rise. Ice cracked, the planet shook. Back underground. A warning, the golden-eyed woman stepped forward. She looked into Eli's eyes, and for the first time she spoke directly to him, in clear, slow English. You have come in peace, but your shadow carries war. Your presence has reawakened the death you buried here. Eli didn't know how to respond. He only knew one thing now. This mission was no longer about survival. It was about stopping history from repeating itself, and he had no idea how. Final scene, a giant wakes far across the ice plains. A massive shadow moved, the buried war machine, part robot, part ancient alien design, broke free from the glacier. Its eyes glowed blue. Its armor bore an old human military logo. Faded, forgotten. It took one step forward. And in the snow. It whispered in a deep voice, one not heard for 1,000 years. Protocol active. Begin purge. The betrayal protocol. The snow was falling. Upward. Not down. Up. Like time itself had cracked. As the machine rose from the glacier, the sky pulsed. Red and ice lifted into the air as if pulled by some invisible force. Luma stared from inside the ship. Her small hand pressed against the window. And then, quietly, she whispered, It remembers. The enemy they built themselves. Commander Eli Voss ran back through the ruined tunnels. The glowing map still burned into his mind, a human ship buried under the ice. A machine waking up, built with human hands. But that wasn't the worst part. The worst part was what the golden-eyed woman had said just before he left. It carries your name. Eli burst out into the storm, snow whipping across his helmet visor. The ridge was trembling beneath his feet. He looked south. And he saw it. A massive shape. Black metal. Walking through the storm. It looked like a man. But its eyes burned with blue fire. Its arms were weapons. And stamped across its chest were the letters VOS Unit 07 Betrayal Protocol. Flashback memory log, audio fragment inside the ship. The AI picked up an old log from the buried human database, auto-played without request. Subject VOS S07 initialized. Adaptive AI, loyalty protocol removed. Unit will execute logic-based. War assessment. Final order. If biological risk exceeds mission safety, eliminate all local species. Eli froze. They named a weapon after me? Inside the ship, Rena rushed inside, panting. Her skin was glowing brighter now, the old power in her blood reacting to the ancient tech outside. Luma ran into her arms. They're coming, she said. The machines? They still think it's war? Rena turned to Eli. You didn't know, she said. But your kind did this. They left weapons behind, ones that cannot forget. Eli clenched his fists. He wasn't just a visitor now. He? Was the trigger, the attack begins outside? VOSSO-7 raised one arm. A beam of white energy slammed into the ridge where the alien ruins sat. Exploding it into ash and wind, Eli screamed, Run! The ship rocked. Power flickered. Shields barely held. The AI shouted, Defense systems failing. Manual override required. Recommend escape. But Eli didn't move. He looked at Rena, at Luma, then at the ship's emergency core, a fusion. Battery capable of destroying the area if detonated. He had one choice left. The old flame. Rena touched the console. Her blood glowed and the AI paused. New genetic signature detected, overriding secondary access. She turned to Eli. You're not the first human to come here, but maybe you can be the first to make it right. She opened a hidden panel. In the wall, inside, a small white orb. The flame core. Ancient alien tech. A power source tied to her people. If we give this to the machine, she said, it may reset, reconnect, remember who it hurt. Eli stared at the orb. Or it could kill us all. She nodded. Double quotes, yes, but doing nothing will kill everything. The final step outside. VOSSO-7 stopped walking. It turned its head, like it was listening. It sensed something. Changed. Inside the ship, Luma walked forward, holding the orb. It's calling me, she whispered. It knows I'm still here. Eli kneeled beside her. No, kid, not alone. We do this together. He took the orb in one hand. Rena held Luma's other hand. They opened the airlock. The storm howled louder now. The machine stepped closer, one final moment, then Eli stepped into the snow, holding the same flame his ancestors tried to steal. Hope, humanity's light. The wind had stopped screaming. For the first time in days, the planet held its breath. Eli stood in the snow, one human, one alien child. One ancient power, glowing in his hands like a second sun. Behind him, Rena watched with silent fear. In front of him, the war machine stared. VOS-07. His name. His legacy, his failure. The machine didn't move. Its blue eyes scanned them. Then, in a voice that was both steel and sadness, it spoke. Human, protocol detects deviation. You carry the light. A choice older than war. The flame core pulsed softly in Eli's hand. It was warm, alive, not a weapon but a memory. The last piece of what Rena's people once were. It did not want to fight. It wanted to be understood. VOSSO-7 looked down at Luma. Child class detected. Genetic match, flamebearer species. Status, non-combatant. The machine paused. Something inside it, something deep beneath the metal, began to shift. Deep in the machine's mind, old files opened. Footage, sound, history. A different time. Rena's ancestors walking beside early human scientists. Working together, smiling, learning. Then, a betrayal. A stolen core, a broken treaty. A decision to erase it all. The machine remembered what it was built for. Not just war, but cover-up. Its job had been simple. Destroy all evidence that humans and flamebearers once stood side by side. Now it saw Eli carrying the very thing it was told to erase. One final stunned. Eli stepped forward, holding the core out. No more lies, he said. I'm not here to fight you. The machine's arms rose, weapons armed. The AI deep inside it screamed old commands. Purge, complete your task, end the flame. But then, Luma stepped in front of Eli. Small, silent, brave. She held up her hand, glowing with the same light as the core, and softly she said, Stop. The storm winds vanished. The machine paused. Its arms lowered, its eyes flickered, and then it knelt. The end of the protocol inside VOSSO-7. The AI collapsed. It didn't crash. It let go. A single final message played in its deep voice. Command, overwritten. Flame recognized. Peace accepted. It shut down. Its blue light faded. The snow began to fall again. Soft this time, gentle. Days later, Eli stood at the edge of a cliff, looking over the icy plains. Beside him, Rena and Luma watched the sunrise. The first real sunrise in years. The ruin had sealed itself again. The storm was gone. The machine lay still in the snow, not as a weapon, but a monument. The flame core had been returned to its chamber, and the planet had begun to warm. Just a little final voiceover for YouTube-style ending. They say hope is a fragile thing, but I saw it survive a frozen world. I saw it walk, small and barefoot, through the storm. And I saw it in the eyes of a child who still believed, even after the fire had gone out. Final shot, Luma running ahead, laughing, Rena smiling, Eli, the last human on the planet, watching them with a quiet tear in his eye. He opens his logbook one last time. Mission complete. We weren't the monsters, we were just early, and now we begin again.